Hey, I am Free, and this is my contribution to the GMTK Game Jam. This year's theme was Loop. I had a couple of ideas at first, like maybe creating a racer game, but then I came up with a really good idea, I think, and that was making a bullet hell with spatial looping or wraparound logic like in Pac-Man or Asteroids. I made a simple grid and visualized it with some pretty flawed logic, but I fixed that later. Then I got the movement and wraparound logic working using a universal grid object class that says I want to go here to the grid manager. It checks if it's outside bounds and then teleports it to the correct location. And it was basically the foundation of my entire game. After this I added projectiles that you could shoot and damage grid objects with. When I got the projectiles done, I needed something to shoot at other than the player, so I made some enemies. The first enemy I made was pretty stupid and only moved towards the player without thinking about the spatial logic. It was very easily fooled. I also made an enemy that was smarter and it did think about the spatial logic, getting to the player in the most efficient way. I did this by duplicating the player's position multiple times and changing their position by one grid, then moving towards the position that is closest. And that worked really great actually. To finish off the day I made a simple enemy spawner. I already had kind of a gameplay loop. The first thing I did this day was to try and change how the gun worked with aiming and shooting instead, but I felt like this was a bit too clunky and didn't really like it that much. I did change the code and make it more flexible so I could add more guns in the future and got automatic fire working. Then I made my enemies actually able to shoot, although maybe not too accurately. After this I looked at my game and thought, this is pretty confusing and hard to understand. I was a bit frustrated over how confusing everything was for a bit. I didn't really know how to fix it until I realized this is spatial looping, so I can duplicate the screen around and have it be, well, logical. I did that and it was instantly clear, and the looping effect really came through, I think. Then I applied some post-processing effects to make everything look a bit nicer. After this I made 3 new weapons, an AK-47 that automatically shoots really strong bullets, a shotgun that shoots really strong bullets in one direction, and finally I made an amalgamation gun. It alternates between shooting diagonally and to the sides. I made the bullets not die after a while and last for an eternity, but it got really chaotic, but I also didn't want them to just suddenly die, so I made the bullets able to actually hit each other, which fixed the problem and gave more control to the player overall. After this I implemented a wave system with increasing difficulty, each wave becoming harder and lasting for about a minute. I also made the enemy spawning better, not based off a static position, but based off the distance from the player. Finally, to finish off the day, I made a power currency thing that spawns, which I wanted to heal you or make you stronger somehow, but I didn't really have time to implement that this day. I got a lot of work done this day. I began the day with fixing an annoying physics bug with the shotgun. When you shot, one bullet still survived. I fixed that by making all collisions process at the end of the frame in late update, which fixed the error and it was working 100%. Then I made my power work and actually increased your base health after each wave. After this I thought about how I would make my gun better and more fun to play overall. I started off by making 2 new enemies, Grand Bulky enemy and Daredevil, because I thought it sounded cool, and I made some slight tweaks on enemy spawning. I also found some nice gun sounds on Pixabay and made those work with the guns as well. After this I made a nice drum beat to play in the background. But when playing, I noticed a critical flaw in my game design. Playing as a pacifist was easily the most viable option to survive, but I was tired and didn't have time to think about that really, so I decided to combat that the next day. I started the day by making eyes or triangles on my enemies to indicate that they were enemies. Then I made a simple start screen for the game, which took quite a while to do. After this I made 2 new guns, a laser gun that shoots 3 bullets forward, and a shatter gun that shoots projectiles that shatter. I mainly tweaked some values and tried to make the game more fun. I made playing as pacifist unviable by making power spawn more frequently when you actually kill enemies. Since I didn't really have time to make a universally fun game mode for everyone, I made some different game modes: easy, regular, hard, and brutal. My collision fix decided to, well, bite me in the ass when I was playtesting late at night. Some bullets will just phase through each other, sometimes. So I spent like 2 hours fixing that, and finally getting the collision working. The trick was to calculate collisions instantly when they happened, and then apply damage at the end of the frame. Since this was the last day of the jam, I kind of forgot to write down exactly what I did in which order, so I'll try my best to recap this properly. I started the day by looking at the game. I felt like the game was a bit too weak visually, so I fixed that. I made a noise texture over the entire screen and rendered that on top of everything. Based on color values, I changed the transparency, flipped it and changed the positions and got rid of the scanlines. I changed the bloom a bit, I changed the contrast and overall some color values, and added some light streaks too. Then I just polished the game a bit, like making the tutorial text and images fade in, or making the game mode screen look from position A to B like this. Then I began working on my itch.io page. I changed some values in the game, overall polish as I said, and I kind of procrastinated and didn't really do much. I got a Windows and web build out and submitted the project. But then it happened. There was a bug, a small bug in my game. The amalgamation gun wasn't working at all. I had forgotten to set its audio source, which broke the entire script. And I had 2 minutes left from the jam. I sat there in my chair, defeated. And then, because of itch.io having server trouble, I was blessed with another hour. I fixed the error and submitted the game. Fully working. And that's the story of I made a pretty good game, I think, for the GMTK Jam. If you participated in the jam or if you think the game sounds fun, please try it out. To finish off the video, here's a trailer I made for it.